Hello, my name is Sarah. This is my guide through China, the oldest living civilization, and how it influenced Texan culture. Centuries of wars left millions dead, but this did not stop them from creating some of the most beautiful art that speaks so eloquently about their culture and what they believe. This picture shows the Chinese dynasties. The essential qualities in Chinese art include a love of nature, a belief in moral and educative capacity of art, an admiration of simplicity, an appreciation of accomplished brushwork, an interest in viewing the subject from various perspectives, and a loyalty to much-used motifs, designs from lotus leaves to dragons. I'm not a professional art critic, but I appreciate all the beautiful nature in Chinese art. Unlike many ancient cultures, Chinese artists were usually amateur gentlemen and at times women who were also scholars. They used the art to explain or show evidence of their principles and poetry. So they weren't so much worried about each brushstroke as they were the meaning or philosophy behind the artwork. When more people began to collect art in China, artists were expected to study the great masters, copying their works as part of their training. The appearance of porcelain began a new era in the history of Chinese pottery, which has lasted for some 8,000 years. The South is famous for blue porcelain, while the North for white porcelain. Red is a prominent color in a lot of their works. It is the ultimate Chinese symbol of joy. It can also signify power, luck, and is used as a color for envelopes of money. It is the color chosen for robes worn by high officials and still used by brides in their weddings for good luck. Even the walls of the Forbidden City were and still are painted red. Jade is the most precious of all stones to the Chinese and symbolizes purity and excellence. The ancients regarded jade as imbued with virtue and goodness and believed that such qualities could be passed to their owner from plain to elegant, realistic to abstract, adorned to elaborate, yet all embody the styles of historic Shang-Chi. Birds of prey such as eagles, falcons, and hawks represent boldness in Chinese art. The peacock is admired for its elegance, beauty, and dignity, and communicates rank and wealth, even more so if it's spreading its tail. This is one of my favorite of all the artwork I was able to study. It is of two phoenix. The male is mid-flight, and I'm just in awe of the way Chinese artists are able to show so much movement and life in their work. Qilin is a mythical animal believed to represent several positive attributes: benevolence, virtue, longevity, grandeur, felicity, illustrious offspring, and wise administration. Most children found in contemporary Chinese art are associated with Chinese New Year. They used to be all male children, reflecting the emphasis placed on male descendants in the traditional Chinese society, but modern posters and pictures now include girls. While women clearly played a secondary role in traditional Chinese society, several of them still achieved fame and recognition. Benevolent goddesses, beautiful immortals, mothers who gave birth to important sons, and historically virtuous women were not surprisingly the most popular subjects. Of the painted objects, my favorite are these blue and white that have such detail but also value the simplicity and elegance of just using blue and white. I wasn't able to share the history from this book, but it shows details about weapons, ceremonial porcelain, and statues that you can currently visit around China. In terms of Chinese literature, I go back between the 14th and 18th centuries CE, where literary fiction reached its heights through the four great classic novels of China, one of which is The Journey to the West. The adaptation, The New Legend of Monkey, that made me want to read the original novel is the worst adaptation, or at least that's what I've read online in reviews. Any of the many other adaptations since 1927 don't follow the book exactly, but there were many that were more of character descriptions and used the original plot as a jumping off point. The Chinese Texans. The first Chinese arrived in 1870 in a group of about 270 to build the railroads in the Brazos River Valley. They earned $20 a month plus food and tent lodging. A decade later, about 2,600 Chinese men came from California. I had no idea until I read this that Chinese had such a large hand in making our railroads in the U.S. Anti-Chinese feelings were present decades later when General Pershing entered Mexico. The Chinese provided food supplies and laundry services to the United States troops. The Mexican Chinese came with General Pershing to escape death from the warring Mexicans. Most of the Pershing's Chinese were brought to San Antonio, where they continued to provide services to the army until they were given waivers from the exclusion law. Many of them opened restaurants and grocery stores where they did well and became community leaders. They also influenced our food. Yes, it's Americanized Chinese food, but I can compare it. When I eat Mexican food, I can tell if it's authentic Mexican food because I've had authentic Mexican food. But here in America, we have our own twist on it. Of course, now that there are more people that travel and want authentic Chinese food, there are chefs from China that have come here. But if you ask someone that has never had it, we love the Chinese food here, and it speaks to the influence of Chinese and Chinese Americans have had on American food.